Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, everybody? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast coming to you from the Cog Hill 40, the Homesteading and Family Farm podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and your favorite podcast app. We are been cool weather. You notice that?
I thought I was missing part of my necklace, and I've been out with Nugget, and I thought he got it. So excuse me for fumbling, but yes, weather has been cooler. However, it's on a warming trend again.
We had some people noticed the sweatshirts and stuff in some of the podcasts and realized that it has cooled off here. Our videos that we've been putting out are, gosh, they're getting, maybe in 2 weeks ago.
That's
now.
Right. It felt like summertime still then.
It was hot during that time, just a little over 2 weeks ago. And now we've had to cut the heater on in the camper for 3 or 4 nights straight or 3 or 4 days straight.
Well, I will say that the tiny house is obviously insulated better than a camper is because Mama hasn't had to cut her heat on.
Oh, that is right. She hasn't. And it is because, look at that thick. She's got regular house insulation in that. And I'm guessing the tiny house has just got a thin layer of.
No, the camper, you mean.
I mean, a camper. The camper's probably got just because the walls aren't near as thick.
That's
so
right.
The R value is probably nothing.
Well, she was surprised to hear that we had to cut our heat on because she said, oh, it didn't get cool at all in the tiny house.
Yeah.
And it's just quite comfortable in there.
Quite comfortable.
Temperatures are warming up. We've got a little bit of rain that's supposed to head our way.
Yeah, we've had a whole solid week with not a drop of rain. And
almost 2 weeks.
Has it almost been 2 weeks?
It's almost been 2 weeks.
Wow.
Everything, I've been doing some dirt moving that Greg pushed up for me to kind of make the driveway entrance a little better. And as I'm going back and forth on the dirt, it's just a dust cloud.
It is the dust cloud.
I mean, there's you can tell it hadn't rained in a while.
We actually have put out a bunch of ryegrass seed to try to stop washing in areas. And so, it's we need a little bit of rain now. After we've had so much rain, we could use it to try to get our seed kick started.
Well, Greg said yesterday, you don't need rain to get that rye started. It's going to start itself no matter what.
I guess so.
But the reason we're putting it out is because he has exposed some areas of dirt that were previously, I guess, sporadic weeds and such as that. So now it's just bare dirt, but we need something there to keep it from washing. So he suggested we find somebody that had some old hay maybe to put on top of it to prevent. He calls it fingers. It's when the rain creates little trenches in the dirt.
Yeah.
And those trenches can become tunnels real quick if you don't get a hold of it.
Especially when it comes wintertime here because they don't dry out as fast. And usually we tend to have wet winters. So, we got to try to get that handle on that.
I found some.
Oh, good.
I found some on Facebook Marketplace, and it's actually over in our old stomping grounds.
Okay, great.
Near Selma. And I found round bales for $15 or best offer. So I'm thinking she'll probably take $10 a bale and load it for us.
How many round bales we can get on the big trailer? 3?
I want to do 3.
If we can get 3 on there, I definitely would get 3.
Oh, I know we can get 3. We could get 4 if we wanted to.
Okay.
But I don't know if we want to have a bunch of hay sitting around.
I got you. Yeah, it probably won't. Yeah, I think 3 should take care of what we want to do. Because as you guys know that we kind of flipped where the houses were going to go. We put the garage and your mom's house on the side that we would eventually like to build a pond, and ours was on the opposite side, which really wasn't nothing there. And then after visiting Tracy over there at Just Dig It Farm and how their fruit orchard was set up, just a light bulb popped off in my head and said, this would make a beautiful fruit orchard. And so that's what it's going to be. And Greg, our site guy, who is being, he about needs to get him a tiny house here because he's here a lot, and we keep adding stuff to the list. We went from just a house site to
Can you take
just-
out this little area and make it flat? I don't like the way this looks. Can you add a little curve to it? And he says that it's just calming to him to be on the dozier and to be able to do site work and enjoys it. And I mean, of course, we're paying him for it. It's not
Right.
like it's a volunteer thing, but he said he enjoys it, and so he appreciates us asking him to do the work and
Plus, he's like, it's better to do it now
then to do it later.
than do it later once you already got stuff landscaped and grass seed and grass is coming up and your house is built and you want me to bring a
I might
big old
need
dozier
those.
in. Oh, okay.
Who knows what I might need to read?
I'm scared they were fixing to get caught on that wire. That's what.
I've been teaching this morning. I've been doing my teaching to Marycarl, who's homeschooled, and I got in here and I realized I had readers on top of my head, which is good because who knows when I might need to read something.
That's right.
I've told y'all my vision's going away, close-up vision.
That's right. So what Greg did is I got him to clear out the fruit orchard or future fruit orchard because it had a bunch of scraggly trees in it. Nothing that was.
We initially had it mulched because it was so thick that you
Yeah,
couldn't
it
get
was
through
bad.
there, and it was just nothing but privet and
Yep.
old scrap stuff coming up. So we had false mulching to mulch that area, and it looks so much better.
It looked way better.
However, we didn't realize how close our house would be to that area.
We didn't. And then, of course, if we'd have left it like that, we could have still planted fruit trees in it, but they would have been in amongst other fruit. I mean,
Yeah, they would have been competing for
yeah,
water and-
it was just, we could have cut them down with a chainsaw for the most part, but the stumps would have been left, and then we'd have to worry about grinding the stumps up. So Greg's got a bulldozer, and he can just push them over, and he's already got a pile started from the house site. So
we
why
left.
not?
We took Mary Carl's advice and we left the trees that would mature into beautiful oaks and
Yes,
a few other. Well, I guess they're all oaks that we left.
we left all the oaks.
left all the oaks because our wise 11-year-old told us
She did.
that they would not be in our way in our lifetime, and we should leave the ones that were not scrap trees. And so we did that. And we call a scrap tree just a volunteer, something that's coming.
Well, a lot of times it's a weed, and if you leave it long enough, it'll eventually turn into. I mean, we got privet that are size
Yeah.
of trees.
A lot
China
of people don't know what
berries.
that is, but it's just a hedge.
It's a Chinese privet. Yeah, it's a hedge that's an invasive species here in the United States. It's probably not over there, but here it's pretty bad because it just takes over, and so does China berries the same
And the
way.
root system can really get in your way.
Yeah, and it gets so thick you can't even see through it, and it
Some
just
of
makes
it-
a mass.
Some
like
of
a
it
wall.
I could not push down with the tractor.
Yeah, it's bad, and so we just had a lot of that in there. I think there was a ton of sweet gum,
It was.
which is also a fast growing tree that produces a ball that's got looks like a
The little thorns.
thorns all on it, and if you step on it barefoot, you know exactly what we're talking about.
You don't have to worry about me walking around barefoot.
That's right.
I've told y'all before, I only take my shoes off when I sleep.
Oh, me. But yeah, it was
Bradford
just,
pear, which is a non-producing, like ornamental, I guess you
and
would
I
say.
just read, I think it was South Carolina that has banned the Bradford pear tree.
Well, when Greg looked, he said, "I think that's a Bradford pear. You don't
Yeah.
want it."
We don't want it. We initially thought, because we got an app on our phone that kind of tells us what stuff is, and when we first got here, we were just, me and Marycarl walking around just steadily just looking at stuff, and it said that was a common pear, but until it produced fruit, it didn't produce. It just produced little bitty berries that were pears, but they were just teeny tiny.
Oh, it's no
Yeah.
way you could have consumed that.
No, not at all. And so we realized then that it was not a native common pear, because those pears get, a decent size. And then we realized, we knew there was a Bradford pear, and then we put two and two together. And Bradford pears spread very easily.
They do, and we did read that they were good food for birds and offered a good bird habitat. However, we have enough of them here for the birds that those few didn't make any difference.
Yeah. There's plenty of trees here for the birds too.
That's right.
There's plenty here. So he cleared all that out, and it looks awesome. We will soon do a video and get you caught up on the site work and what's going on on the house build once we get past what's going on with the animals, because everybody's so, wanting to know about the animals and us moving everybody. So once we get past that, we will start, on the house site and showing you guys what's going on.
Well, we're kind of back to square one with the house. Metal has gone up so much since we initially did our pricing. And so we kind of feel like we're back to square one, but you know what? I'm not stressing over it. I feel like we've got a roof over our head. We're comfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
And until something happens that we need to, we're going to build a house. We know that. We've got our plans. We've got them.
That's right.
Several different contractors have copies of those plans. But until we're told what we need to do by, building quotes and things like that, we're just in limbo. We're just, we're ready to build.
Well, see, originally we're going to build a pole barn house, and which consists of, like you would build original pole barn, and they're called barn dominiums and that thing, and it was going to be wood structure.
Yeah,
for the most part,
wood posts basically.
Or they call them post frame houses, that kind of thing. And so that was the original plan, and then just out of curiosity, because wood had gone sky high, we decided just to get a price on all steel. Now, we had already gotten prices on pole barn houses from 2 or 3 different contractors.
But it was not our exact house plan. It was something
it wasn't,
different.
Yes, that's right.
So we knew before we ever got started what it was going to cost us to build, basically.
Per square foot, because we got a square foot price. Yeah.
And so we knew what it was going to take to build. However, this was not our exact plan.
So then we decided, you know what, since wood's high, let's just get a price on doing it a metal building or a steel, or it's all metal and steel construction, and which we thought originally would be way out of our budget.
Double.
We thought it's not going to work, but
what, 35-50% higher?
Yeah, it's usually about 30 to 50% higher,
which wasn't in our budget.
So we got prices, and lo and behold, it was higher, but it wasn't that much higher than the all wood. And we were like, okay, this is great.
It was $2,000 difference. And we felt like...
But that wasn't our house plans. It was
just a basic 60 by 40.
It was a 24... It was... What we wanted to do is the picture that we're going after, even in our house plans, but it was just 2,400 square foot, just a basic 60 by 40. And they told us, windows would be an extra $150 per hole, and doors would be another extra $150. We knew all that going in.
But we just wanted to compare apples to apples.
Just get a price.
When we found out that metal was only $2,000 more for the build, we were like, what?
This is a no-brainer.
We would be crazy if we didn't go with all metal construction, because first of all, your insurance is a lot lower when you're using all metal versus wood, because that frame is not going anywhere if there were to be a fire.
Right.
And then also the wind rating is a lot higher.
It is a lot higher.
Metal.
That's right.
There were just a lot of things that would push you towards the metal versus wood if you could do that. And with that small amount of money difference, it was crazy. So,
it was.
So we thought we were building a metal house. We were so excited. We can actually afford a metal house because of the price of wood. Well, guess what happened?
Well, we had to get an architect to draw up our plans, because, basically we needed a set of plans. We just couldn't whim it. This is our house. I know I say the plans was for me, but to be honest, we just could not just take a drawing and some sketch paper, and we had to do it. We had to get an architect. And
it wasn't that costly. Once we figured out what it was going to cost,
that's right.
We felt like this was going to help us so much that it was worth that little bit of added cost to have something in our hand to know how far out, this needed to be or that needed to be.
That's right.
And so that was July when we got the metal house price.
And then so we hired an architect. It took him roughly 4 weeks, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Took him 4 weeks. So then we turned in or gave our plans to the metal builder that had quoted us the price, and gave it to them. And then they were waiting on a contractor to give them a price on erecting it. And so it was another 2 weeks, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
maybe
we got
like
a-
6 weeks since we initially got a price, or 7 weeks.
We got our plans back from the architect September the 5th,
Okay.
and we didn't get our price back from the builder, the metal builder, until like the first week of October.
So roughly 8 weeks. So just say 2 months had passed since we initially got a first quote from the metal builder, and we were sticker shocked because
It was double.
it was over double.
It was over
It
double.
was over double. And here's the thing. The first house we showed them was 2,400 square foot. It was just a basic 60 by 40. This one's smaller.
It is, but the initial one did not have any porches on it, whereas this one has porches. So it kind of just about all evened out
Well, I
as
guess
far
so.
as comparing apples to apples on size.
Yeah.
You know, when you add a 10-foot porch that's the length of the house, it just about added up in the amount of metal that was going into it.
I didn't think about the porch
Yeah,
part. But
yeah.
but it was over double.
It was over double. And so we're like, okay.
We were like, if we do this, then that's going to take away from other things. You may not be able to have that nice kitchen that you wanted because we spent all our budget on the frame of the house. It really put
Opened our eyes.
it put a dark cloud over everything because everything seemed to be going so great. The site work was going awesome. We were building a metal house. And so once we got this new quote back and we were like, how did it do this?
And mind you, by the time we got this new quote back, our doors and windows, well, not windows, doors are here.
Yeah.
So, we're like all together ready to build.
Yeah.
And here we find out that the price is double. It's nothing that the contractor did. It was just that the prices had changed that much in that short amount of time.
Concrete's gone up.
Concrete's
Metal's
gone up.
gone through the
Metal's
roof.
gone up.
So add all those factors together, and that's what we got.
We are not building some fancy elaborate house. It's
Oh, no.
very simple. It's very basic.
It's a straight up rectangle. It's 2 rectangles.
It's 2 rectangles
It's a rectangle going this way.
and a rectangle going the other way.
No crazy pitch. It's just a regular old 6-on-12 pitch roof. It's just like boop. It's just like building a pole barn because that's what this thing looks like. It's just like a pole barn. It goes like this, and it goes that way, and then the garage and your mom's place
Goes the opposite
goes the
direction.
opposite. So it looks like a T. If you were to look above the houses, it's gonna look like the letter T. And it's just 2 rectangles. That's it. So, there's no crazy roof lines. There's no crazy trusses. There's no crazy anything to this house. It is a simple rectangle.
And we want basic. We don't want any.
Yeah, that's right.
I want my kitchen to be nice, but I don't have to have top of the line cabinets or anything like that. Don't have to have top of the line appliances. I want our happiness and our elaborateness, if there is any, to be outside.
Yeah, that's
Meaning like pond.
Right.
We've dreamt of a pond for a long time.
That's right.
That is something that we really want to happen. So I will take that medium kitchen over a high-end kitchen in order to have that pond that we've dreamed of for a
Right.
long time.
Right.
So that being said, we could go with the metal frame.
We can go with a metal frame, but it's going to take away. It's just
The
we're going to be
budget's not there.
we're going to be stretched, and we do not want to borrow any money whatsoever because we don't. Our other place was paid for. We didn't have a mortgage, and we sold it, and so our biggest hope is the money we got saved, and take the money we made off the property we just sold, and build our place. And not have to worry about any mortgage and be
like
debt-free.
reinvest it and
Yeah.
hopefully have a little something left in our pocket if we do all the work ourselves, which we're
That's right.
not all of it, most of the work ourselves, which we're planning to. But we would have to pay somebody to build a pond. We can't build a pond.
No,
we
we
don't
can't
have the
build a-
equipment to build a pond.
Well, we can't build a pond, so we're back to because the when we were looking at a pole barn house, we just gave people just a concept of what we were wanting to do, but we didn't give them a set of plans. So we've gone back to those people,
the initial
the
contacts.
initial contacts, and have gotten several more contacts about pole barn houses that build them. And we sent all our plans to all these people. And this was last week, and some week before last. And so we're waiting for those prices and quotes and bids to come back.
I just keep thinking any day we're going to have something, and that's going to be the determining factor. You know, we know what it cost back in February, March.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't know what it would cost today. So we're going to have to compare that wood price today, which wood's gone down a lot, but it's still going to be higher than it was initially.
Right.
And then compare that metal to that, and that's going to be the determining factor of what we do. And the contractor that we were working with on the metal, you know, he's texted me and messaged me several times, anything we can do to help, you know, how are you looking? And I'm like, look, I can't tell you anything until we get back some of these quotes from what post frame construction is going to cost.
Right. And, you know, we still got to have metal because it's going to be.
Oh, we got to have metal.
So, I mean, we can still come back to them and get them a quote on the exterior metal.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they can do something. They've been very helpful to us. And I don't know. It's not like where the situation we were in when we were moving because we had a deadline.
That's right.
Well, we don't have a deadline.
We don't have a deadline.
We have a shelter. We have a roof over our head. Of course, we want to be started sooner than later, but it's nice to not feel pressured.
That's right.
You know, if this was something that was a date deadline, you'd be like calling them. You got anything yet?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like we have to do that. Yeah,
Right.
we're staying in touch with them, but it's not like we're pushy saying, you know, I got to have something right now.
And I will say this. I think it is a blessing that it's happened like this because otherwise I don't think we will be doing the stuff that we're doing with Greg.
Not only that, but we're still working on animal enclosures and such as that, and that has to happen. I told Marycarl, I said, you better get your daddy to do everything you want him to do because right now we've got time. Whereas when we start building the house, we're not going to have as much time.
It's going to be a different animal.
So she's got a list started.
Does she got a list started?
She's got a list started. She wants some outdoor runs and some different things, and
we're going to get that.
We're
definitely going to get that.
Maybe that's one reason I'm not pushing these contractors because I really need that time. I need that limbo to be able to finish what we've started. And
we've been rushed.
Oh gosh.
For 2 months that we just don't want to be. We're tired of being rushed.
I'm tired of being rushed. I don't want to be rushed anymore. It's so nice to wake up and know that I don't have to jump out of the bed. That I can actually get my eyes open before I put my shoes on.
That's right.
Or I might sleep in my shoes. Who knows?
So you can wake up running.
That's right. They need to have soles on the bottom of them, though, and little slippers don't have soles on them.
Yeah, I bet you can get some with soles on. Is that Greg?
No, I see Sunny, and she's just sitting there.
Okay.
So Greg is coming today.
I thought I heard something.
You might have, but we talked to Greg yesterday about pond build.
We did talk to Greg yesterday about pond build.
We had told y'all earlier that Ross, Piper's daddy, was who we would contact about the pond. Ross lives outskirts of Selma.
Yeah, they moved, and so they're way away from us now.
They're probably an hour.
At least an hour.
From his business. From his
business, yeah.
To get equipment here.
That's right.
And then Ross doesn't have the ability to find dirt in this area like Greg does. So
Greg literally lives 15 minutes from here.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that far. He says 15 minutes, but it's not.
It's probably 10. So, and Greg's from this town that we live in now. And so it's worked out so well that it has. It is literally, I cannot express how happy I am that Ross suggested Greg at Davis Family Construction, and because it has worked out so well.
It has. And so ever since Greg's been doing the work, we told him we'd like to build a pond down there. And just as we've gotten to know him more and seen his work, we know that he can do the job. And he's told us he can do it.
Yeah.
So yesterday he said, let me get my lasers out and I'm going to shoot this pond. He said, how deep y'all want it? Well, like, I don't know
We
anything
don't know.
about a
You
pond.
tell us what you think, Greg.
I don't know. I don't know how deep I want the
Right.
pond. You know, you want it 2 foot deep all the way across, or do you want a pond?
Yes.
So he says, let me shoot it. And I said, are you going to do that today? He said, I'm going to do it before dark.
And he did.
And he did. Yesterday around lunch, he was able to put some flags out and show us where the level was, like where the pond would end,
that's right.
where the dam could be built, and where the level would go from each side to the other. And I said, will that be deep enough for a pond? And he said, be about 20 foot deep, I reckon, in the center.
Yeah, in the center and towards the dam, it's going to get even deeper because they say he's probably got to dig 10 foot deep. Oh, so it's probably 30 foot deep by the dam.
So basically, the biggest cost is just moving dirt from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Our dirt that we have here is not suitable to build a dam. He said you need, some more compactable dirt.
Right.
Our dirt here is good for house sites, but it's got a lot of gravel in it, and so therefore, if you're trying to build a dam, that's just going to filter away.
It'll leak out.
Sand and whatever else in it. So he said, I tell you what I can do. He said, I got dirt at my place, which is 10 minutes away.
He called it a clay, but he says
it's got plastics in it.
Plastics in it. And
I think that's just a term. It's not like
it
plastics.
is. I think that's exactly what it is. It's just a term. And so he says he's got plenty of it on his site that he doesn't use that often. And he would swap load for load because what we have is perfect for road building, for
house
sites and building sites. And that's why we got really lucky on our site because he has brought in zero dirt whatsoever here. He's just used what we've had. And, I'm on these Facebook pages with these barnuminium house sites, these people building barnuminiums, and there's just horror stories of these people, having to bring in 50 to 100 loads of dirt because they don't have the proper dirt on their site.
Well, not only that, but, you have to imagine that if they're bringing in that much dirt, they're just dumping it and they're spreading it out. He is rolling it. He is adding another layer, rolling it again. I'm going to tell y'all something.
It's packed.
If I wanted to go out there with a shovel right now and dig in it, there ain't no way because he has rolled and rolled and rolled.
If you hit that with a shovel or posto digger, you'd see sparks.
You would. And so Greg, when he said, would y'all be interested in swapping load for dirt? We were like, yeah.
Absolutely.
But that still doesn't take away
the hours.
Yeah, man hours to transport from point A to point B and equipment transfer. He's going to have some heavy equipment in here. He said he'd have a track coat at his place and a track coat at our place.
Yes, and dump trucks running.
He said, I said, how long would it take you to do this? And he said, okay, I could get about, what did he say? He said 15 days. I think he said that he could do 10 loads in a day, back and forth.
I think that's right.
Because it was going to take 150 loads.
But what did he say about 2 weeks of that? And I'm guessing 2 weeks, 15 days, and that's him coming here first thing in the morning
and turning around and going back and just shuffling back and forth for 15 straight days, moving dirt before he could ever get started.
Before he ever gets it's a lot of time involved in building this pond. So when he shot it with a laser, here was the good thing. Once he shot it with a laser, he said that he could go home and come back, which is today, and give us a solid price.
Yeah, give us a solid price. And, initially when the guy did the mulching, and he said, man, if this was my place, I'd build me a pond over here because it's already like a bowl,
Right.
It's got sides on both sides. It's got kind of a semi-side on this side. And, I don't know that much about ponds, but I know that it has to have a dam. Yeah. And so he said, I build my dam on that side. Well, I'm thinking that means that the pond's already there. It's not going to take much to build it. Well, it still takes a lot of man hours and a lot of dirt.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of cost.
Yes.
And that's getting back to where we were talking about building the house. Not that we want to compromise our structure, but we are such outdoor people that we would rather have a less expensive house to have a pond versus a more expensive house to not have a pond.
Yeah, I agree.
And I
agree.
This is crazy because my mom said, I don't know if I'd even build the pond. I think I'd just build Marycarl a swimming pool. And I said, Mama, I said, we've talked about that, and she don't want a swimming pool. She wants a pond.
She wants a pond. And here's the thing, usually about swimming pools that I found
I don't want a swimming pool.
from friends of ours and people we've known over the years that have bought swimming pools when they had children is, and I know this isn't everybody, but from the most part we've seen is once the children leave, then the swimming pool doesn't get used hardly anymore. And then, we've even known people that have filled them in.
Yeah, I can't imagine me, Marycarl, not living here anymore and me going out for a swim.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'd rather be cutting grass than swimming in a swimming pool, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That's the differences in people, and that's what makes the world go round is we're all different.
And plus a swimming pool's a lot of upkeep.
Yeah, that was my
lot of
thought.
upkeep. As if we have the time.
That was my thought. And look, this is what I asked Greg yesterday. I said, Greg, in your opinion, will the pond be pretty? And I didn't mean it the way it came out, but that's what I meant,
Yeah.
Will
you're thinking about the outside of it, the
Yeah.
edge and all that.
And he said, "Oh yeah, yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He's yes ma'am everything."
It'd be pretty.
I mean, he's older than me, but he's just a courteous Southern
Yeah.
gentleman, and he's like, "Yes ma'am, it'll be pretty.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty." So yesterday we were just all grins and giggles, thinking that we may actually have this pond.
Yep. And he even told us, to start working a little bit at a time, clearing out stuff, and we got piles built up and start, burning those and doing a little bit at a time.
He said, as the weather cools off a little bit, cut you some of that wood up into smaller pieces so it can burn, and let's go ahead and start getting some of that out. But you know what he said to me that was interesting?
What's that?
Okay, so we've been concerned about what will we do with the trees that are in that pond area.
Yes.
And I just thought that he could put them in the dump truck and hauling off. That would be a lot of hauling, more than I'm thinking.
Right, it would be.
So he's like, y'all need to be thinking about what you want to do with these trees too. Is what he was telling us when he was doing the site work.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday he said, this is what I do with trees that are in the pond area. He said, I'd pile them up in that deepest part, and I'd make me a pile, and I'd take me some cable.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and I'd crisscross that cable over the top of the trees before we get water in it. And I'd put me some tie downs and tie those trees down to the bottom of the pond. That way, when you get water in it, it'll cover them up.
And they won't float up.
Up, and it'll make an awesome fish bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, will I be able to have fish in the pond? And he looked at me like, what do you want a pond for if you don't have fish in
Well,
it?
he had asked me earlier, do we plan on stocking it full of fish? And I told him, I said, I don't foresee me going and buying a whole bunch of bass. I said, all I would really love was just put some brim in it.
Yeah.
If me and Marycarl want to go out there, me and you want to go out there and just take a little fishing pole and some crickets and catch some brim, that would be the joy.
It's almost like it never occurred to me that the whole time we've been talking about building this pond, that fish live in a pond.
Yeah.
That's not what I want it for. I just like the look of the pond, and I'm
Right.
thinking about the ducks and the geese and all the wildlife that we could have in the pond. And he's like, make you a fish bed out of it. I'm like, fish could live in that pond? Jeez. Wow, we got the best of both worlds,
That's right.
don't we?
That's
Fish
right.
live in a pond. I
Yep.
learned that real early on in life, and I forgot.
You forgot. Well, you were thinking ducks and geese
I
and
was.
looks. You weren't thinking about fish.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
filling all these swimming pools up every morning that the ducks and geese get them colossally nasty, and it looks like,
That's right.
some kind of, I don't know what going on out there. I see Peaches.
Do you?
She's laying out in the sun.
She is sunning out there.
She is. But we are giddy about this pond, and that is giddy until he comes back with a figure that might wipe us off our
Comes back with
feet.
the- That's right. Well, the good thing about Greg is that, of course, we trust him, and he's going to give us a great price. But also, if that price is not in our budget, I know he'll come back and say, look, if this is too much money, then we can do this,
Yeah.
this, and this.
He
So,
has alternatives.
Yeah.
And this was a level. He said your cost comes in the deeper you get. He said, so if
Yeah.
you want, if you want the pond deeper, then your cost goes up because the dam's got to be taller. I
Right.
get that.
Yeah.
I understand that. And he showed us where the level would be, and that's what he's figuring it off of. So I guess if it's not in our budget, then we can go down on the size of the dam.
We can go down on the size of the dam.
And then have just a little mud hole versus a pond.
Well, I mean, when it's all said and done, where he's building the dam and where the water will flood up, it's around 2 acres.
Yeah, it'll be like a 2-acre pond. And I was concerned yesterday because the tiny house has a septic tank that's already there.
It's close to the pond.
It's close to the pond. And I said, Greg, do you know where the septic tank is for the tiny house? He said, no, ma'am, I don't. I said, well, I'd like for you to walk over here with me.
Yeah.
I said, do you think the pond is going to come up this far to cover up this septic tank? And he said, possibly. And I was like,
oh no.
Goodness. Yeah. So after he said, let me shoot it with a laser and I'll be able to tell more about it. Come to find out, it didn't come up near that far.
Didn't
and that
come
was
up
a relief.
near that far, yeah, because he initially thought it was going to go on up that way.
Because you can't visually see where the level is.
That's right.
And after he shot it and after he saw, he said, y'all are in the clear. That septic tank's not going to be in the way.
Yep.
And he said, I could just do some little delicate dozier work around that septic tank and make it look pretty in that area versus disturbing all the, natural habitats. And
that's right.
Oh, goodness, I'm starting to put a smile on my face this morning just talking about this pond.
Talking about the pond.
Possibility of having a fish in it. Oh, my gracious.
We could get some grass carps to keep the grass down. That was the other thing. He's like, we want to try to keep it 2 foot or deeper as much as we can because, weeds and stuff will grow up anything that's above 2 foot.
And I never thought about that until he mentioned it yesterday.
Yep, that's right. And he said it's, it's in, you can't. You got to have. There's going to be some areas that's going to happen.
But I think he was saying he would dig it out right there.
He would dig it out as soon as, and make
He's
it work.
A perfectionist. He is a perfectionist. And he may not even know that he's a perfectionist. But and that's what I like about him is he doesn't like the way something looks. It doesn't matter if it's going to take him more time versus what he quoted you. He's going to make it right.
He's going to fix it. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, goodness. I just thought of something to talk about. Now I forgot.
Uh-oh.
You keep going.
Well, I will say that he's making the house site more sloped. I know I had to go back and find the original what stuff looked like versus what it looks like now.
I wish I had taken more pictures initially versus what it looks like now because, when we started looking at this property back in February, it was of course overgrown but we still saw potential.
Right.
We saw potential then. And really, the potential, the way it looks now, I didn't see that much potential.
Yeah, what that bulldozer can do, and somebody that knows how to run it, is just amazing because it's crazy. Because in one little spot he did yesterday probably took him 15 minutes, and it's something that's been an eyesore the whole time.
When we
and
you
even tried to do it with your tractor, which is a fairly nice sized tractor. And it took you
I couldn't put
days.
A dent in it. I couldn't put a dent in what I wanted to have done. It was just I don't know what it looks like. It's just a mound.
Yeah.
And I could never get that mound down. No matter how much I box bladed, how much I used the bucket to dig that mound out, it wasn't going anywhere. It took him literally 5 minutes.
It did. It did take him no time. And I knew it wouldn't, and that's why I suggested it yesterday. I was like, look,
I didn't know it'd be that quick though. And then I said, I don't like the way this hillside looks in kind of front of the house. It's not a hillside, but the way the slope is, I don't like the way that looks. And he said, okay. He said,
and he didn't like it either.
He said, you want it to look more like this side over here? And I said, yeah. So I'm thinking he could fix that in 30 minutes. It was an all-day job.
He worked on that all day. And then what he did was he got down to that red gravel, great compacting soil we have once you get past the topsoil. And he made the house pad bigger. He took all that. And he'd already had tapered off the back side of that house pad and made it pretty. And then when he added this to it, we're not making a bigger house there because we don't care anything about space and size. As long as we have enough room to live in, then we're satisfied. But I think he ended up liking what he did. Yeah,
because he told us he didn't like the way the front corner of the pad looked, and he fixed that right on up.
He did fix it. So
and he also fixed me some piles of red, and he told me what I needed to do at the entrance. He said, as these big, heavy trucks, concrete trucks, he said, if I do the pond coming in with a track hoe and stuff, he said, it's going to wear that driveway down. He put a pipe in, so water could flow back and forth because it was like a dip.
Yeah, it was
when
a
you came
ditch.
in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he put that pipe in for us and charged us for that. Charged us to put charged us for the pipe itself and told us what to do so we could save money.
Yeah.
So he pushed me up a pile of that dirt, and I've been steadily shoveling it from the house site to the road to get it built up the way he liked it. And so I worked all day Saturday.
You did.
Shoveling it, and I was like, it looks really good. I'm really satisfied with the job I did. And that man came the next day and piled up more dirt.
Yeah, we had to, as most of y'all know, my laptop's been on the outs, and so we had to run to Birmingham to see about getting a new laptop. And so I'd send him a message, and I was like, hey, look, we're not going to be here today. I got to get a new computer. And he said, no problem. He said, I'm just going to mess around on the house pad. And I said, okay. Came back, and there was your new pile, and you specifically said, Greg's trying to kill me.
I said to myself, I thought it looked perfect up there.
And it didn't.
And here you are. You got me in. What do you want me to do with this dirt? Well, I think I just want that little mound to come on this way and just add you a little more.
You know what? And it looks so much better.
It does. And that's just the things that he does that makes our life so much easier.
Yeah, it looks way better.
If somebody tells us what to do, we can do it, but we don't have the know-how to know what needs to be done.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So we got us a nice pipe that's covered, and the construction traffic shouldn't tear that pipe up now. And he's going to get us a little bit of pea gravel to help protect the road from.
Yeah, where you just did all that work, and then he's going to put some in front of the camper because it's all dirt. And so he's going to dump some there that we can spread out.
Yeah,
so
he said that kind of dirt, when it gets wet, it's going to be slick.
Yeah, sticky and slick. And then he's going to make a little road where it goes down to the house site. So when these concrete trucks and these trucks are coming in, that they'll use that little road and not make such a mess.
Yeah. And
so
then,
that's coming hopefully today. I think he said he's going to try to do it today.
No, he's not bringing the gravel today.
Oh, he's not going to bring the gravel today.
He's bringing the gravel when it rains.
Oh, okay.
He's going to try to come in and push that dirt so he can have it ready.
I got you. Well, that makes sense.
But it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I'm having a feeling he's going to come today and make the road and then do the gravel tomorrow.
Okay.
But I read some comments, and they were questioning, have we talked to the new people, the people that bought our little cog? That's what I'm calling it now, little cog. Little cog. Yes, we have been in a lot of contact with the people from Seattle that purchased our home in Valley Grande, Alabama. They are loving it.
They are loving it.
They say that their only wish, and you never know what's coming after that.
Oh,
what
gosh.
is your only wish? Is something wrong? Because if they had done it sooner.
Yeah, you told me that, and
you never know how somebody's going to react to a whole nother area. They're 49 states away,
and I've been really worried that that they wasn't as happy and all that, and it's just human nature.
Yeah.
And when you told me that, it made me feel so good and relieved that they were loving it over there.
Well, I've asked her questions like, can you tell a difference in the price of groceries here versus there? And y'all, they still don't have their belongings.
Yeah, their moving company still hasn't shown up with their furniture and stuff. So
their furniture, their clothes, their cookware. So they're just about having to eat every meal out. They've become very familiar with their area really quick.
Yes.
She told me yesterday that the moving truck was supposed to leave Seattle. I believe she said today or tomorrow.
Wow.
But that still puts them, they can only travel 500 miles a day, and it's 4,000 miles a day. 4,000 miles away.
Okay.
So just say if they did 500 miles away each day, that would take them 8 straight days.
Wow, it's crazy.
8 days, and they're not going to work 8 days straight. So it's going to take longer than that.
Wow. Oh, man.
So they brought, what they could in their vehicle with them, the absolute necessities, such as their animals, their selves.
Right.
And then they've just been kind of living out of
And they did buy some furniture.
Yeah, they bought some
Yeah.
furniture. They didn't. I don't even think that there's a whole lot of furniture to be brought. It's just their belongings, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that's our thing is when you were saying when we were moving that our house was cleaned out. Yeah, our furniture was gone, but that didn't mean all that other stuff was gone.
Yeah.
Because all
Yeah.
that stuff that has to be boxed up, that's the bulk of your belongings.
Yeah. all
And that's
that
what's
stuff.
coming on their moving company from cross country.
Wow. That's
So,
crazy. That is
yeah, they've
so crazy.
become very familiar with the restaurants in the area.
That's good.
And she asked me yesterday, where was the dump, meaning place to take garbage?
Yeah.
Because we always took our garbage to the dump versus having a garbage pickup service. Reason being, the driveway's 800 foot. By the time you put it in the truck to drive it up to the top, then you could just go to the dump.
Yep, that's right. It was, yeah, it would have been a mess.
So I told them where the dump was. I sent them an address, and that was it. You know, I just told them the address. I didn't go into detail anything else about it. She sent me a message last night, and she said, I cannot believe that there was no charge at the dump.
Yeah, that's what.
You know,
No charge.
thought that was Greg.
No.
No charge at the dump. And it's just little things like that that makes them a little bit happier to be in Alabama.
In
Because
a little small town life.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they've come in contact with a lot of people telling them where to eat and what's good and where to go, and they've been to Mark Smart.
They've been to Mark Smart. Did they get any chicken swirls? Not squirrel.
Yes,
Swirls.
they did. They did.
Did they like 'em?
I don't know.
You don't know
I
if
told
you
her
like 'em
I
yet.
couldn't wait to find out
I
if
got
they
you.
liked them or not because we usually grill them. Well, obviously their grill's not here.
Oh, yeah.
But in the oven, they're just as good.
They are.
But you know what? After the last podcast, a friend of mine, hey, Jeffrey, he texted me
Yeah.
and he said, Mark Smart will ship.
They will ship.
And I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. So y'all check out their website and see if they do ship out those chicken swirls.
It says home of the chicken swirl on their website.
Does it really?
It does. The original chicken swirl.
funny.
Swirl. SWIRL. Swirl, not squirrel.
That's that chicken squirrels.
You've probably eaten squirrel before, haven't
I
you?
have eaten squirrel.
I have not eaten any squirrel.
I have. Oh, that was not that uncommon when I was a kid. I mean, it kind of seems like things have changed a little bit, but squirrel hunting was very, very common here. I don't hear of anybody going squirrel hunting anymore.
Tristan,
Does he?
Piper's
That's right, 'cause
brother.
he's got a squirrel
yes,
dog.
he bought a squirrel. He loves to squirrel hunt.
But man, that was very, very, very just as common, in my opinion, as dove hunting, which is a big thing here.
and you
So,
don't
I
hear
mean,
of people coon hunting like they used to
no,
either.
coon hunting was huge. My dad was a big coon hunter, and I would say even 80% of the time, we never even would shoot the coon. You just let the dogs tree and then put them back up. And I have great memories of that with my dad, building a campfire and listening to the dogs run in the woods. And, we would take a older gentleman with us that was in his early 90s,
Oh, goodness.
and he would sit around and just tell stories. And it may be hours before, you go get the dogs. And
So it really wasn't even about the
It really
hunting.
was not about the hunting at all. It was about the camaraderie, and we had such a great time. And just some of my best memories ever with my dad was coon hunting. Absolutely.
I've never hunted anything in my life.
Yeah.
I'm just
Fishing.
my dad never hunted. Now his brother did,
That's right. His brother
And-
was a big hunter.
big hunter, but my dad fished, and so therefore I like to fish, but never hunted anything, and don't plan to start. It's just not something that interests me.
Yeah. Well, I'm not interested in hunting. So
No.
I mean, I don't do any hunting now. I'm just not. Just something that does not interest me. I mean,
But-
this is big deer country. I mean, there's people.
Speaking of
There's
that,
celebrities that have hunting clubs in the Black Belt area and Black Belt region, and that covers several counties. But this is big, huge deer hunting country.
speaking of that, the new owners of our house, I asked them if they had seen any deer, and they said yes, they have 4 that frequent
Yeah.
house. And the little girl, Bella, she's so excited every time she sees the deer. I think that she said that she has them named.
Didn't they buy a deer feeder too?
No, they put out some corn, but all those mallards ate it.
Oh gosh.
But she said that Bella just doesn't understand why when she runs to them, they run away.
They run away.
But we had those that frequented.
Yes. It was
Little Cog when we were there, and we had dogs that were supposed to protect the place. So those deer were so tame that they didn't even care about the dogs.
Yeah, and I think the dogs had taken them in as a
they belong
piece
there.
of livestock and just protected them as well. So the dogs didn't even mess with them at all.
There was a time when we used to feed deer out back behind the house.
Did.
And we enjoyed watching them. I don't even think Marycarl was born when we did that.
I don't think so either.
We had a lot of windows, and the back of the house was just about completely glass, because there's 4 French doors in the den, and then there's a big bay window in the dining area, breakfast room, and you could see, if you put the feeder out back behind there, you could watch them out the window, and it was always fun to see that big buck come walk up.
We had
one that any
huge.
hunter would have been proud to say that was his buck.
It was a monster.
We didn't tell anybody about it.
No, we didn't tell anybody about it, but he was a monster.
And also when Marycarl was really little, she liked to ride down. It was the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, ride down the
St.
neighborhood.
Andrews Drive ran right beside our old house. And so we would ride down the road at night to look for the deer.
That's right.
Because they were always frequenting the yards and, eating what they shouldn't be eating, probably fruit trees and such. And as we frequented that area, driving to look for deer, I think you probably didn't go with us too much.
I would every now and then. I think I was usually editing videos, to be honest with you.
But we saw an albino.
I saw the albino one time. But I think me and Marycarl, sometimes you wouldn't go and I would take her. We just drive up and down.
There was an albino deer that would frequent that area with a group, and it came to a point where we didn't see that albino anymore, but we were always looking for that albino deer.
It was a sight to see. It was beautiful.
It was always fun for her to see. We always saw rabbits and
always saw rabbits.
And then one night there was something that crossed the road, and to this day, Marycarl and I still talk about it because we call it the creature. We don't know what it was. It's just one of those things that you can vividly remember what it looked like, but neither Marycarl nor myself can pinpoint what it was.
No telling.
It's a mystery. The creature, it kind of resembled a kangaroo. It kind of resembled a rabbit. It came right in front of us, and it was just like that. So neither one of us, we knew it was something odd we had never seen before, but we don't know what it was.
No telling.
No telling.
Probably a rat.
If it was, I'm getting out of there.
That's right.
I'm not scared of rats, but I'm scared of one that big.
Another thing is that we will be speaking, if something crazy don't happen, we will be at the Homestead conference in
Milton, Florida.
Milton, Florida. It's close to Pensacola. We will be there. We will we're not going to spend the night. Just the simple fact that we have all these animals here. We have the birds inside the camper. We got the little dogs inside the camper. And so we're going to do because it's not that far for us to drive. We looked, and
it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not that far at all. So we're going to drive that morning, meet everybody, speak about our birds and stuff, and then we're going to drive on back. But I just wanted to let people know that we will be speaking there. Come by and see us. We will be there. We're new to the area, and so having somebody to come take care of the animals while we were gone for a day, and so
Mom doesn't feel comfortable putting the little dogs on a leash. So
yes, because they have to be walked on a leash, and as y'all know, Gidget is crazy as a Bitsy
she's
bug.
Wonderful. Gidget is the most wonderful dog. She walks very well on a leash.
She has gotten away from both me and you. I chased her. I look like Usain Bolt out there, but Gidget's like trying to catch a chicken. You can't
she
catch
thinks
a chicken.
It's so fun,
Yeah,
and
she does.
She really isn't going anywhere. When she gets loose, she's looking at you like, try it. I bet you can't catch me.
She will get within 10 inches of you,
She's teasing you.
And she's sitting there and she's wiggling like this, saying, "Come here."
And then she takes off.
And as soon as you lean over, pew, she's gone. And then she stops again, and she comes to you a little bit more. And
here's the thing: is if Sunny, is outside, and you say, "Hey, Sunny, what you doing today?" Then she sees that as somebody's getting some loving that I'm supposed to be getting, and she'll come to you. Or if you open the car door, she thinks she's going somewhere.
Go for a ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those two things usually help.
Right. So just
Don't let it happen again, though.
Don't I know it? Me and you both. It's crazy. So that's why we're going. It's close.
Tell you something funny.
Okay.
I was walking her and Dixie. Marycarl has their leashes tied together because she thinks it's easier that way.
Yeah.
Well, I can't untie them, so I just leave them tied together.
Let it be.
And I hook, but they both have harnesses on, so they won't be pulling because both of them tend to pull. And so I walked Dixie and Gidget at the same time with their harnesses on. Their harnesses hooked around the back of their back, and they can pull from their body versus their neck.
Yeah.
So I'm walking Dixie, and I'm looking around, and I look for Gidget, and there's Gidget's harness dangling. With no dog on the harness. And Gidget thinks she's still on the harness, so she's walking right with us. And I'm like, oh, and it was a quick fix, but it was kind of funny to look down and see.
If she would have known she was off that harness.
She was on the harness.
She would have been playing Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. And it was kind of funny to look down and see that the harness was just going along just like I was walking her. So back to the homesteading you were talking about. I interrupted you so rudely.
No, we will. That's why we're going to drive in and drive out, but we're going to try to meet everybody we can.
We have to get back, and we hope you all understand that we are in the middle of this moving.
Yeah, because when we were asked to do this event,
we thought we wouldn't. We thought we'd still be at the little cog.
Yeah, we thought this is no big deal. This will work out. We'll do it, and it was just timing. I don't know if I mentioned it before in the podcast. I probably have, but originally we thought we were going to move sometime next spring.
Yeah,
that was our original thinking. Was it going to be a March of 2022? And
you know what the new owners are concerned about with their stuff?
What's that?
That it was going to leave today or tomorrow. They're already having huge snowstorms up in that part of the country that they have to travel through to get here. And so they're really concerned about the travel, from there to here. Because if that delays them at all, then you're talking about from 8 days to 16 days, just like that.
That's crazy.
But when they agreed to have this moving company move their stuff, the moving company signed a contract that said within 21 days.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That is a long time, and they better get there in 21 days, or they would. I'm assuming
the contract would be voided.
And
I'm
then
sure
they would owe them some money back.
Well,
yeah,
it wasn't a cheap move, that's for sure.
No.
But I hope all in all, I hope they're as happy as they say they are, because I don't know what it's like to live in the Northwest.
Yeah, I don't either. Don't have a clue.
I mean, the culture. They said everybody has been so nice. And that's good to hear because, I feel like generally Alabamians are nice. Everybody, I speak to everybody.
Well, the old saying, the Southern hospitality.
Yeah. That yes ma'am from Greg, that just tickles me every time he says it. And he doesn't mean any, he just does it out of respect.
Well, and it becomes habit, too, down here.
People, I can remember being in my 20s and saying yes ma'am and no sir, to somebody, and them saying, you don't have to say yes ma'am and yes and no sir to me. It's just the way we were brought up.
It's just the way we were brought up, yeah. It's just the way we were brought up.
And I have home for Marycarl to say yes ma'am and no ma'am and yes sir and no sir. But I do feel like her generation is not as amped to say.
Yeah, I think so too. Another thing we do is we put Mr. and Mrs. or Miss in front of everybody's name too.
Yeah.
Mr. Greg or
Mr. Greg.
Yeah.
I always say Mr.
Yeah.
Greg.
That's something else we do kind of here.
Yeah.
That I don't think maybe other places in the country do that as much as we do.
Yeah, it's just a Southern thing, and I wouldn't feel comfortable not saying yes ma'am or no sir or Mr. or Mrs. in front of something. It's just respect. It's
That's right.
It's not anything other than that.
And one other thing I like to bring up about the conference too is that we will, especially Marycarl. Most of y'all know Marycarl has had an autoimmune disease. It may be in remission. It may be gone. We don't know 100%. So we take a little bit extra precaution, and Marycarl does wear a mask. We wear a mask as well.
Just to make her feel more
Yeah.
comfortable if anything, and for the simple fact that if we get sick, we pass it to her.
Yeah.
Not to say that masks 100% protect against sickness, but it makes us feel more comfortable saying we're doing everything we can to protect us and her child.
It does, and I know people I know certain people kind of get bent out of shape about the whole mask thing, and it's nothing political to us. It's that we were wearing masks before COVID even hit.
Yeah, I've talked about that in the podcast.
we would
Being in
go-
an airport and us wearing a mask.
Yeah,
And Marycarl was told by her doctor that she needed to wear a mask, and therefore, in order for her to be more comfortable, we wore a mask.
that's
And
right.
So it's just kind of second nature to
Yeah.
us to.
That's right. I mean, we've gone to Disneyland and Orlando Studios wearing masks, and this was
Universal Studios.
years before this mess has hit. So it's nothing political to us. It's nothing, it has nothing to do with any of that. We think people have the right to choose whatever they want to do. So I just wanted to put that out there. I don't want people to take it the wrong way or anything like that. It's just what we do.
Yeah, and we
for
don't feel that
Marycarl
we have to
safety.
explain ourselves either. It's not that. It's just a simple fact that we want you to know that we're not doing it out of any kind of reason other than the protection of our child.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, so I just wanted to put that out there, and so y'all would.
And she
y'all
is
would know.
perfectly healthy.
She is.
As far as we know, there's no problems, but still, it's just an extra.
Yeah,
little-
we just don't want to go back to what we had experienced in the past and spending weeks in children's hospital and spending the night, and
That's right.
so this just makes us feel more comfortable.
You know what?
What's that?
It's getting a little close to lunchtime now.
It is.
And I'm thinking about running to town and getting me one of those meat and 3 plates.
Sounds good.
What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
I've got to go get some doors so you can finish working on the silky coop, and I can do all that at one time. Maybe even pick up a little feed at the same trip.
We were about out of feed.
Well, we had the chickens locked up for a week, and so of course they consume more feed when they're locked up.
Yeah.
And we went through that barrel pretty quick. So I'm gonna go get some feed and go get a meat and 3 and onward.
Onward. And I would like to put out there, everybody's doing great. All the animals are great. The chicken video came out yesterday, and so they're all doing wonderful. It has been 7 days. We've let them out. They're doing great. I mean, so everything's doing awesome. Next video will be Peaches and updates on other animals. So y'all stay tuned to that. And then we're going to start getting into life here on the new Cog Hill, the 40.
Yeah, and it'll be easier for you to edit things. So maybe, just maybe, you could get more than 2 videos out of it.
That's what I'm thinking. If I'm going to start, that's my goal.
If
to-
we video and you edit it that day,
Yeah.
then it makes it so much easier than
It
like
does.
all this footage that we have
It's
been
been
through
tough
with moving the
because
animals. You've got to
it
piece
is.
it together.
It
and,
is.
You
And my
asked,
new computer will be in too, so that'll help out a lot too.
you asked me if I wanted to edit your video for you.
I
And I
was joking.
said, I will delete everything that
Oh,
you
my
have
gracious.
ever had on that computer. And that computer is trashed, but I will trash it even further.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right.
Oh, my
Y'all
gracious.
be good.
Y'all be good.